today, we're going to be looking at 3 pros, the Dutch legend Mitr0, 200 IQ MRSavage, and a cracked yet underrated player, Moqii. Okay, so the thing with these pros is that they're all extremely proficient fighters, all right? Not only mechanically, but also game sense-wise as well. So by watching and analyzing their playstyles, we should be able to pick up a thing or two for ourselves. But before we start, if you enjoy our content, a quick like on the video would be very much appreciated, my friends. And check to see you're subscribed, all right? So you don't miss a video. Let us know in the comments how many of these scenarios you get right. I'm so excited to know. All right, guys, Bunch of Crunch Army, it's about that time. Ladies and gentlemen around the world, it's time to scream this out. You better say this whole thing with me. Here we go. It's time to sit back, relax. All right, so most people praise Mitr0 for his mechanical prowess, right? But honestly, you'd be surprised at how often it's his planning that helps him get kills. In this game, he lands at the pontoon, the really overpowered solo spot. And right off the start, man, he gets himself into a couple of awkward off-spawn scraps. Mitr0 manages to win them both, but as he's picking up his loot, he starts getting shot at by somebody far away on land. So Mitr0 is pretty confident, so he tries to force them to peek so he can trade shots. But the guy doesn't budge. And as he inspects the area, he notices another enemy preparing to push the first one. Mitr0 finishes looting, pops a pepper, and now he's ready to go third party. Okay, so at this point, how do you think Mitr0 should get there? Should he take the boat or swim across instead? All right, guys, so the right thing to do is swim across. Okay, let me tell you why. When you have a pepper active, it makes you swim incredibly quick, right? Pretty much as fast as a boat. You might be saying, well, the boat has rockets, I can just shoot at them. But that hardly ever does anything at this level of gameplay. It mostly just disrupts and just slows down the fight they're having. So there's really no point in him taking the boat, making a ton of noise, attracting all the attention, and potentially getting beamed by the 2 players fighting. Anyways, Mitr0 notices a kill pop up in the elimination feed and arrives just in time to find this fight over. But look how sneaky his approach is, okay? He crouch walks to conceal his footsteps and hides behind the tree. Big question, my friends. All right, with the enemy standing out in the open, what would you do here? Go for the shot or hold your fire and wait for a better shot? Well, it's kind of a lousy shot Mitr0 has right here. His opponent's far and strafing back and forth on high ground. Okay, so if he attacks now, he gives up his position and risks being stuck low ground for the rest of the fight. So waiting is the smarter play. And look, because of another player approaching, this guy leaves their high ground spot and Mitr0 ends up getting an easy double dink. Okay, so now that they're weak, he rushes in, side jumps for height, and takes advantage of a fatal flaw. His opponent doesn't even cover every opening. All Mitr0 has to do is just switch up angles a ton until he finds his way for the kill. Unfortunately, Mitr0 couldn't foresee the stream snipers that would show up to bully him right after, which made the remainder of his match pretty uneventful. But still, the elim was a great demonstration of how sneakiness can matter a ton. Okay, so now we're going to move to MRSavage, one of the best pros in the world. So in this match, and a lot of his arena matches, Savage likes to drop at the authority. So the grappler and vault loot that you can get here is pretty much a golden ticket to having a successful game. However, because of that, everyone and their grandma lands here. Like literally, I know a lot of people are playing with their grandmas. And so you have to be very watchful during the early game. Okay, so to start, Savage lands just outside the boss's office, where Jules actually has a decent chance of spawning. Lucky for Savage, she's here in this game, so with his shotty, he immediately pushes in and he gets her loot. However, the thing to note is that Savage ends up later on dropping the drum gun for a green SMG. It may seem like blasphemy to drop a mythic weapon, but the new drum gun is nowhere near it was last season. It's actually quite weak compared to regular SMGs and P90s, so most pros, including Savage, don't even bother to use it. But once Savage loots the entire basement, he makes his way through the vents and toward the vault entrance. Players are still lurking, so he's cautious, making sure to clear every corner and surround the vault with builds before inserting the keycard. But once it's open, how do you think Savage should play this one? Should he open just one chest to see if it baits any opponents into attacking, or go right to the back of the vault, put up a wall, and just loot everything right away. Well, there are still players potentially waiting, and if Savage backs himself into the vault right away, he might end up getting pinned back there, right? So it's actually better to just open one chest and wait to see if anyone tries attacking. That ends up being the case here, and an opponent starts breaking his wall. Savage applies a bit of pressure back, which ultimately leads to nothing. Okay, so this spot outside the vault is vulnerable, so he makes the decision to grapple out and escape the enemy. But as he does, he hears them engage in a fight with someone else. My question is, would you head back down to third party the fight, or head back down to loot the vault while they're distracted? Well, Savage loadout is actually in a great spot, so he doesn't really need to hit up the vault immediately, right? Instead, it's actually better to go for the kill opportunity while he can. He rushes up, he gets the enemy to critical health, and with them tossing chug splashes, he doesn't even bother with the wall replace. It's just a simple pickaxe into their box to clean up this kill. So with one enemy down and the other on the run, MRSavage can now hit up the vault. So he loots it up, then he heads back out to search for the remaining players. The first one of which he finds camping in the vents. They catch Savage entirely off guard and manage to hit a nasty shot on this one. But again, this is why the grappler is so amazing. You could just disengage and just create space with it incredibly quickly. So Savage gets away and he pops his minis, no problem, right? For the rest of his HP, he makes another visit to the vault.